Hi folks, this is Raymond Connors, the IELTS Terminator once again. Today I'm very fortunate in being able to interview a well-known educator in Vietnam, Mr. Peter Simpson. I'm the IELTS Terminator. Peter Simpson is currently working in Vietnam and has been there for a long time. And I know Peter personally, and I have worked with him on a number of occasions. We can trust what he has to say. Welcome, Peter, and thanks for agreeing to this interview.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for the invitation.
That's no problems at all. Now, Peter, I want to ask you a few questions. I'd just like to get your ideas because I feel that having a lot of my students having a different perspective to have a look at some of this stuff was going to be very helpful. Okay. First of all, do you think only language centres can do a good job teaching IELTS?
I would have to disagree with that, Ray. It depends on the country you're learning in. A lot of learning centres in some countries have decided probably about 7 or 8 years ago to go for the money instead of quality education, and they've changed their learning centres into education centres.
Right.
They seem to want to take advantage that English is a difficult subject to learn, and they can always use that as an excuse. They don't teach correctly. It's more focused on games. So
right.
That at all.
Okay, good. Well, I'm in agreement with that, actually. What alternatives are there that can work instead of someone going and spending their times at a language centre?
Well, with the technology we have today, Ray, I honestly believe that learning online is the most successful way to for a student to achieve the results they're trying to achieve.
Right.
In saying that, particularly if you can go online and learn with a group of other people, like a team learn method of learning, where all students help each other understand what they're not understanding. They're free to speak openly and freely.
So that would probably encompass like something like learning on Skype with a teacher, 2 or 3 students together, yeah?
Yes, well, a group of 4 to 6 would be better. The team learn aspect that I've designed, it kind of, because the students are listening to each other, when you're learning on Skype, you can record all the lessons. When they're not understanding something that's being taught, they can ask each other, I'm not understanding this, who can help me?
Right.
And while the other students are helping the student to understand clearly, they're also improving their speaking skills and English skills.
Right.
And everything's recorded so that the students can listen to themselves making the mistakes. They can listen to the other students helping correct their mistakes and make them understand things a bit better. Also, the instructor is listening to everybody, so the instructor is correcting everybody, which is, everything is recorded, so they can listen to this over and over and over again, and they get to understand their mistakes.
Okay.
Learning English is very similar to life. You learn by your own mistakes, and you learn by other people's mistakes.
What are your thoughts? Sorry to cut you off, but we have our limited time. What are your thoughts about pre-recorded lessons that students can buy at a reduced price?
I think that's a good idea because the students can study in their own time.
Right, on demand, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, they can study 2 hours today and 10 minutes tomorrow, or
right.
something like that. They also, with your particular courses, which have been very well designed with good materials, they can.
Thank you.
They can spend more time with learning a particular part of your program than what they would in a learning centre. So,
right.
I believe that it's quite a
A good alternative, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you for that. That's good.
alternative,
Yeah.
and also, you know, this is how in Australia we learn by correspondence learning a lot.
Right, right.
In the old days, so this was successful back then, and I believe it's still successful now.
Yeah, has the whole thing become modern? Yeah. Do you think it's possible for a student to take an IELTS course alone with no tutorage at all?
Well, I have had students in Vietnam who have scored very well in IELTS and TOEIC.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the classroom though,
Mm.
using my team learn method that works
Right.
very well and gets the results that the students are trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to learn English, self-study is a essential part of achieving the results you want. You cannot achieve your targeted results with English if you do not self-study.
Right.
If you just go to a learning centre and you sit in the classroom for 90 minutes and then you don't review what you've learned and you don't do so self-study is one of the most essential parts of achieving the results you're trying to achieve. So
Okay.
with regards to no tutoring at all, it is possible because of the quality of materials that are on the internet these days.
Yes, yes, I agree with that. Do you think it's necessary for students to use a textbook when they study a subject like IELTS?
Depending on the textbook, I believe that the topics in each unit of a textbook these days are very limited. They only briefly touch the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, when you're learning online and you're learning from people like yourself, either tutoring or with your set courses,
Mm-hmm.
they're learning more details about all the different topics that you need to be able to understand.
Textbooks tend to be very general, don't they? You know.
The problem with a lot of learners, particularly in Asia, in the third world, poorer countries, the students haven't had the experience that developed country people have.
Right.
So it's all about imagining. You got to imagine you're in the situation. You got to imagine that you know something about the topic, or if you haven't experienced life like we have.
Right, got it, okay. And last question for today. Do you think students need a high level of English to be able to do well in IELTS, or can someone with a fairly basic knowledge of it take it on and be successful?
Well, a lot of teachers will probably disagree with me, but because, particularly with IELTS, it covers so many vast and various topics.
Yes.
So quite a good general knowledge to start with, like I just mentioned before.
Yes,
yes. In the third world countries just do not have, and I feel very, very sorry for them because it makes it more difficult because they don't know about the topic.
Right.
When you know about a topic that you're learning, it makes it a lot easier. When you don't know about the topic, you gotta try to think, well, what is this topic and what is it about? So. With regards to English skills and the vocabulary that students require to get a high IELTS score, you really do need to have a vast selection of vocabulary because of the various topics that are in the IELTS exams. So
Right.
I believe that you've got to have probably around about 70% vocabulary and knowledge of how to use the words and the different words that they can take on in different sentences. So,
Right.
but you've got to be able to understand words in sentence form.
Right, right, yes. It's not much good if you can't use it in a communicative way, is it?
That's what I tell my students. It's all very well and good to be able to pronounce a word, If you don't know how it's used in a sentence or the different meanings that word can take on in a sentence, you know, you're not going to be able to use it.
Right. So probably, yeah. So probably the most important thing is when you know a word, practice, practice, practice.
Well, when I teach vocabulary, I teach it from the root word, and I add the affixes.
Aha. Right. Right.
In the word into different sentences. If it has a different meaning, I give them examples of that word that take on a different meaning in a different topic or a different sentence. So you've got to kind of study each word that can take on different meanings.
Right.
What I believe is what the failure is with learning centres in particular. It's about time. The teacher's got 90 minutes to cover a certain amount of pages in a textbook.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of students are walking out of the room and really not understanding what they've just been taught.
Right. All right. Well, we're running out of time, Peter, but thank you very much for your time today. And we've been talking to Peter Simpson, who is a fairly well-known educator in the south of Vietnam, currently in Ho Chi Minh City. He used to work in Vung Tau, which is down the coast. Pretty well respected, and we've seen some of his ideas today. Thank you very much, Peter, and I'll be in contact a little later, yeah?
Okay, nice talking to you again, Ray.
Thank you.
The students can get some value out of our discussion this morning.
I hope so too. Thank you very much, Peter.